Hello children, how are you? I hope you all are doing well, studying well and enjoying whatever you're learning through SST. Because children, it actually gives us a better insight into what is our earth made up of, where we are living, how are things around us, everything in detail. Alright children, so now that we are talking about earth, let's talk about the weather and climate. How does that take place? How does that change? Okay, so let's talk about that in detail in this chapter. All right, learning objectives, we are going to talk about weather and climate, we are going to talk about the factors that affect the climate, and we are going to talk about the different climatic zones. Okay, so let's do a quick warm up before we start. Look at the pictures shown below. Each of them depicts a particular kind of weather. Can you decipher what type of weather it indicates? So these are the pictures which indicate different weather conditions. Okay. Now, what is a weather? Okay. Weather is nothing but it is just telling about the condition of the air, okay, or the atmosphere, okay, over a period of time. So, weather can change, okay, over a short period of time, okay. So, it may happen that when you wake up in the morning, okay, you feel it's quite cold, okay. Slowly and gradually, you'll see that around 11ish, there are dark clouds that form in the air, okay, and then you have some rain, okay, and after that, the rain settles down and the sun comes out. So, likewise, in a day, you are looking at different changes in the weather that are happening, from cold to rain to a heat that is coming from the sun, okay. So, it can keep changing over a short period of time. So, today weather may be sunny or cloudy, but it may change tomorrow. Okay? Weather changes from day to day and even from hour to hour. Okay? We cannot say that it's going to stay as it is, okay, every time. Okay? It can change, or it can change at any moment. Okay? So, climate of a place. Now, climate is the average weather condition, okay, over a long period of time. So, now it is like, average weather condition. So, it means like if today is sunny, tomorrow is sunny, day after tomorrow is sunny, then it rains one day, then again it is sunny. So, if it happens for a period of time, say for 3-4 months, so we know that in this period of time, in these 3-4 months, these were the months, these were the days when it was quite sunny and it was little rainy and it was little cold. So, that means it's a summer season, okay. So that's how we decide this different seasons also, okay, depending on the climate of that particular place for a longer period of time, okay, average of that time. All right. So, climate of a place is the average weather condition over a long period of time. We have different climates in different parts of the world. So, in this chapter, we will study about the weather and climate and the factors, okay, that affect or determine the climate of a place, okay. So, let's start with the weather and climate first. The condition of air of a particular place at a particular time is called the weather. Now, weather, it can change every day and it may change many times in a day also, okay. It is not necessary that if it is sunny in the morning, it will stay sunny throughout the day. It cannot be cloudy. No, it can change, okay, the way it wants, okay. So, it may be sunny in the morning and it may rain heavily in the evening. So, weather, it determines the kind of clothes we wear and also the kind of food we eat, okay. So, that also differs because of the weather. So, climate, what happens is, it is a condition of the air over a period of time, okay. It was basically calculated as per the average weather that has been there in a particular place for a period of time. So, now what are the factors that affect the climate? Okay. The climate of a place where we live is called the regional climate. So, it all depends on a particular place. It cannot be the same throughout the earth. Okay. It all depends on the region or the place where you live, okay. So, now there are several factors that determine the climate of a place. Now, what are these factors? It can be the distance where you are living from the sun, okay, then the distance from the sea, you have altitude, okay, you have humidity, and you have wind patterns. Okay. So, what are the factors that affect the climate? You have the distance, how far you are from the sun. You have the distance from the sea. You have the distance, that is the altitude, okay, how high you are above the sea level. Okay, you have the humidity level. So, and also you have the wind patterns. So, let's talk about the distance from the sun first. Okay, now the sun's rays, they fall directly on the equator, okay, throughout the year. Hence, okay, the places which are near the equator, okay, they are very hot. And the sun's rays, they fall at an angle on areas away from the equator. So, those places which are near to the equator, they will always be hot, okay, because they are very close to the sun. However, those areas which are on the angle, okay, of away from the sun, from the equator, okay, they will have different climate. Now, the amount of light which falls on these places is less. Hence, the climate in these places will be cooler. Those places which are away from the sun, okay, they will have a colder climate. Since different parts of the earth receive different amount of the sun's heat, the climate varies in different places. So, that's how the climate gets affected, okay, depending on the amount of sunlight or the sun rays, the way they fall on the area or the region where you are living, okay. Next is the distance from the sea. Now, during the day, the land gets heated up faster than the sea by the heat of the sun. So, during the day, okay, the land is hotter than the sea, okay. The hot air above the land, what happens is it rises up, it goes up, okay, and the cool air above the sea, okay, it rushes towards the land to take the place of that hot air. Now, this is known as the sea breeze. That's the breeze that you're getting from the sea during the daytime, okay. So, what happens is during the sea, you will see that the sun rays, they fall on the earth, okay, and they heat up the earth's surface, okay. Now, this area is hot, and then the sea, it is cooler, okay. So, the hot air above the land, okay, it starts getting heated up, okay, and that air starts rising up. Now, this air then, okay, gets clashed with the cool air which is coming from the sea, and then they clash or they meet up there, and then that sea wants to take the sea breeze, it wants to take the place of the land air, okay, and this is known as the sea breeze, okay. However, during the night, it is vice versa, okay, it is the opposite. The land cools faster, okay, than the sea, and the air above the sea is still warm and it rises up, okay. So, the cool air which is now on the land, okay, it rushes towards the sea, okay, to take its place, and the air which is there in the sea is warm, okay, it takes a longer time. So, that's when the land breeze happens, that means it's getting the breeze from the land, okay, alright. So, this is how it functions. So, what happens is you have the sea which is cold during the day, okay, cooler, okay, the cool air, it descends, alright. Then you have the warmer air which is coming from the land, they meet together, that is when you get the sea breeze, okay. And in the land breeze, okay, the sea air is warmer, okay, the land air is cooler, okay, and then when they rush into each other, that's when the land breeze takes place, okay. Now, what is an altitude? Altitude are places that are located at higher altitude, okay. Now, these places, altitude means how higher you are above the sea level, okay. So, the places which are at higher altitude, they are cooler as compared to the places which are at the lower altitude. The temperature goes down roughly 4 degrees Fahrenheit for every 1000 feet you climb up. So, every 1000 feet you climb up, the temperature starts dropping down, okay. Dropping down means it starts getting cooler, okay. Now, let's move on and see what is humidity. Now, humidity is what? Humidity means the moisture which is there in the air that causes humidity. You feel very hot, you feel sweaty, you are like continuously sweating, okay. So that is because of the humidity. Now, humidity is the amount of water or moisture content of the air. So, generally you will see that the climate gets humid during the rainy seasons, okay, because there is lots of moisture in the air, okay, because of the rains, alright, or because of the dampness which is there around. So, the places near the coastal area, okay, they are always humid, okay, because of the amount of moisture that is releasing in the air. Now, when the humidity is high, we feel uncomfortable, okay, because we do not sweat, okay. So, if the humidity is very high, okay, we feel very uncomfortable. High humidity leads to formation of clouds and eventually precipitation. Now, what are wind patterns? Now, wind patterns also determine the climate of a place, okay. It affects them a lot, okay. The way the wind is blowing, in which direction it is blowing, it all makes a lot of difference. So, wind that blows from the sea brings rain to the coastal area, but gives a dry weather in island areas. So, because of the wind that is coming from the sea, okay, it brings rain, okay, in the coastal areas. So, in the coastal areas you will have a little better climate, okay, moist climate because of the wind. And however, on the island areas it will be a dry climate. The monsoon winds that blow from the Arabian Sea towards the land, they bring rain. Okay, we all know how rain is formed because of the evaporation, okay, and then how the water gets accumulated in the form of clouds and then how it drops down in the form of rain on the earth, okay. Now, the wind that blows from the Thar desert, during the summer, it causes the temperature to rise in landlocked regions like Delhi. What do you mean by landlocked regions? Okay, that means these are the areas which is close to Rajasthan. However, this does not have a major water body to take away the dryness from the air. Okay, and that is how the temperature of these air gets risen up. Okay, it gets very hot in these areas as well. All right. So, now what is a microclimate? A small area with a different climate, okay, than its surrounding is called to have a microclimate. So, there may be smaller areas, okay, where the climate is totally different than what the climate is in its surroundings. Now, for example, the temperature in cities may be around 6 degrees warmer, 6 degrees Celsius warmer than the surrounding countryside, because buildings and paved streets hold the sun's heat longer. So, countryside you have more of trees and water bodies and all. However, in cities you have lot of buildings and paved streets, because of which, okay, the climate gets a little more warmer, okay, as compared to the countryside, as compared to the villages. Clear? Now, what are the different climatic zones that we have? Climatic zones, they are also known as the heat zones. There are 3 distinct heat zones on the earth. Each of these zones, they receive different amount of sunlight. Okay? Climate zone means heat zone. How much sunlight we receive, how much heat we get from the sun, it depends on the different climatic zones. Okay? So, there are main 5 latitude regions of the earth's surface, okay, which are known as the geographical regions or zones. One is the north frigid zone, okay, which is the north of the Arctic Circle. Then you have the north temperate zone, which is between the Arctic Circle and the Tropic of Cancer. And then you have the torrid zone. Now, torrid zone is between the tropical circles. Then you have the south temperate zone, which is between the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle. And then you have the south frigid zone, which is south of the Antarctic Circle. So, if you look at the diagram of the climatic zones, you will see that down here, okay, you have the frigid zone, and up above, okay, that is the bottommost, and the topmost is the frigid zone. Okay. Then you have the for in the southern part of the earth, okay, you have the Antarctic Circle, okay. However, on the northern part of it, you have the temperate zone, you have the Tropic of Cancer, and then you have the torrid zone, okay. Then you have the equator, which is the line in the center of the earth, followed by the torrid zone. Then you have the Tropic of Capricorn, which is in the southern hemisphere, okay, and the temperate zone and the Antarctic zone. So these are the way how our earth is divided into different zones. The north frigid zone, okay, north of Arctic Circle, north temperate zone, zone between the Arctic Circle and the Tropic of Cancer, that is in the northern hemisphere. Then you have the torrid zone, which is between the tropical circles, okay, in between both the circles, that is Tropic of Cancer as well as Tropic of Capricorn. Then you have the south temperate zone, okay, between Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle, and then you have the south frigid zone, okay, which is our Antarctic Circle. Now let's talk about the frigid zone. Now area which is farthest, if you see, frigid zone is very far away from the equator, okay, both in the northern hemisphere as well as in the southern hemisphere, okay, and that is the reason why in these areas the sunlight that is received is least, and that's why these areas are the coldest, okay. Frigid zone is the coldest zone. Now the polar regions from the frigid zone, okay, the polar regions which are there, that is the North Pole and the South Pole, they form what? They form the frigid zone. They experience continuous daylight for 6 months and complete darkness for the next 6 months. Okay, that means for 6 months continuously, okay, there is only light, and for the next 6 months continuously there is darkness. Clear? Now the frigid zones, they are the coldest part of the earth and they are covered with ice and snow. Then you have the temperate zone. Now this temperate zone, it is very closer to the equator. The climate is mild and it is warm. It includes the regions between the Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle, and then you have the regions which are in the Arctic Circle and the regions between the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle. Now what is the torrid zone? Now torrid zone, it lies on or around the equator. So those are the areas which are near to the equator or on the equator. Now this region, it receives, because it is near the equator, it receives direct sunlight. Now this zone, it extends from the equator to the Tropic of Cancer in the northern hemisphere and equator to Tropic of Capricorn in the southern hemisphere. Okay, that means those areas which are in these in this zone, they are hot. Okay, reshuffle, name the following. Okay, you have to answer the different questions that are given here. All right. Now let's look at the new words we've learned. Sea breeze, it is the cool air which is blowing from the sea or ocean, and land breeze, it's cool air blowing from the land. All right. So children, let's do a quick recap. Condition of air of a particular place at a particular time, it is known as the weather, and it can vary from day to day, from hour to hour. Okay, it cannot stay the same. Climate, it is the condition of air over a long period of time basis on the average of it. All right. Then you have different climatic zones like the frigid zone, temperate zone and the torrid zone. All right. So children, now quickly reread this chapter, look at the map, okay, or look at the diagrams to understand it in a better manner, okay, as you are listening. All right. So children, quickly reread this chapter and then start doing the back exercises. All right. Get going.